Carol, Hedy.
I forgot she said they were not. That's all I
Good morning, Gateway Rotary. How are we today? Welcome. It's a wonderful Wednesday, and we're all together, and we're ready to get started. All right. Could I ask Graham if he could lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Graham.
Please join me in the pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Kathleen, could you please lead us in the four-way test?
Yes, please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and fifth.
Is it fun?
All right, well, we're going to have some fun today. We've got a great program. Got a lot of different things to discuss, and we're really excited to have everybody back. As always, I love saying hi to the back row in the back. How's everybody back there doing? All right, fun to see you guys here today. Law enforcement, you guys are all here talking. I see. That's great. Shaking hands, getting to know each other. Welcome. Yes, sir. I was looking at you, sir. Okay, we've got a couple. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Nobody signed in for visiting Rotarians. So, any visiting Rotarians here? Great. We'll move on to guests. Mike Leonard, you have a guest.
I do. I'd like to introduce Joe Wolf. Joe is with Thurston County, formerly with City of Yelm. Is one of my leadership Thurston County buddies.
Welcome. I hope you have a good time today. Any other guests here that haven't signed in? All right, great. We're going to move on to Think Rotary again. So I'm going to give you some time to think as I'm talking about what it is. This is our opportunity for us to share the great things that other Rotarians are doing, especially recognizing folks in the private sector if you have that to do. And I see Mr. Jones in the back row. Mike.
So I got a call from middle school counselor. One of their students in their low income row needed a week. She has the disease I can't pronounce. Alopecia. So this child needed a week. Of course, I go to Madeline. Madeline takes care of her. I asked Madeline, what do I owe you? And Madeline said she'll take care of it.
We will hear a lot about Madeline today in various forms. Madeline is highly shown on our program today, so we will hear more from Madeline. Yes, go ahead, Nate.
So I serve as a judge or a coordinator for judges for an association of higher education institutions. And I called Shannon Glenn last minute and I said, hey, I need you. She goes, I'm there. So she spent hours and hours of time over the last month judging about, I'd say, 50 submissions of the best alumni, fundraising, and marketing communications from higher education institutions in the surrounding 4 states. So thank you so much, Shannon, for your time.
So, you know what, we do title and escrow over at Chicago Title. Well, Jeff Madden's group over there at the county put together a whole reception for us at the county for about an hour to go through the process with all of the title companies and last week, and it was absolutely amazing and very eye-opening for both sides to be able to see the process. So, yay, great job.
Yay.
Great, and I hope this has been a productive time in the mornings for us to be able to hear about some of the great things that we're all doing and then recognizing, especially on the business side. So thank you for those. Oh, there's another. I'm sorry I didn't see you.
Martin.
Oh, we've got Potty with Monty himself. Go ahead, Martin.
So my event Saturday, my very thanks to Troy Kirby and Sasquatch Tickets. He ran all of my tickets for up to the event and the day of the event, and it went super smooth. And a second shout out to Madeline. I needed a wig so I could be Ozzy Osbourne. Supposed to be young, so there we go.
Nice.
All right, Troy and Madeline, great recognition. Okay, anybody else that I did miss? Fantastic, we're gonna move on. We are gonna be, you should have seen an email from Amanda over the weekend. We've done the board's been working hard and trying to do some fixes on the bylaws. So to give us an update on what's going on with that, and before our hand vote next week, let's welcome our Vice President, Amanda Bay. Amanda.
Okay, so your bylaw committee consisting of Madeline and Jerry Wilkins and I have gone over, went over the bylaws, and mainly we just tweaked some of the syntax. So there's just some slight corrections. We did add a provision to allow the board of directors to remove a particularly unctuous board member should it become necessary. We also have now proposed that the sergeant at arms is also an elected position, and that is primarily because we need to make sure that if the person is voting, that they're elected by the club. So the sergeant at arms and the director are also considered voting members. And other than that, I think the only other big thing was Trudy caught a technical. We are a public relations committee, not a public image committee. So if there's any other questions or concerns, please let me know this week, because we will have to have everything addressed before the vote next week. Yes, sir.
I have been involved in such an activity 4 or 5 times, and the results that you came up, I think were really nicely done. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Great, again, I'd like to really thank that committee for its hard work, Madeline sharing that. Again, this is going to be the Madeline shows, and Madeline's keep kicking it off. And Amanda for sending out all those messages and really making sure that we got the communications out to everybody. With that said, we're going to have a unique discussion today as we talk about our foundation minute. It's going to be a little bit different. So if I could welcome our foundation chair, let's hear it for Nate Peters. I'll do some stand-up in the meantime. So I have no jokes for anybody.
Why are you hobbling?
Why am I hobbling? Thank you.
Do you have a cramp or? Sorry.
Any other questions?
This is the story of historic progress. A story that doesn't exist without you.
You guys see it on the screen?
A lot of these are streaming.
You don't see it on the TV.
Yeah, I was working on that.
This is the story of historic.
There before.
Yeah, I don't know.
Add it up.
It was just up.
Yeah, there.
Oh,
Oh, I like that.
Progress. A story that doesn't exist without you. Our unifying effort in 3 decades of action demonstrates our commitment and endurance. And our progress thus far shows that a polio-free world is achievable. Individuals, clubs, partners, and governments share a collective vision to improve the health of every single child. We've eliminated polio in some of the most difficult places, overcoming obstacles and navigating complex issues. Our successes prove that polio will be eradicated, and while ending a global disease is not easy, as Rotary, we don't give up. We'll continue our fight until each child is protected. This isn't possible without you. So stay involved, keep pushing forward, engage your clubs and communities, start a social media conversation, and increase visibility on the importance of this global effort. Hold events and fundraisers on World Polio Day and throughout the year. Advocate to governments about the importance of supporting polio eradication. Make a contribution and invest in one of the largest health initiatives ever. Be a character in our story. Be the solution to our challenge. It's because of each and every one of you that we will improve our future by making polio a disease of the past. Eradication is possible. So let's keep our promise.
Yeah.
So the second human disease ever with the chance of being eradicated is polio, right? So tomorrow is World Polio Day, which is very exciting, which is why we're talking about it today. So I'm going to read a little bit about World Polio Day. So polio is a paralyzing and potentially fatal disease that still threatens children in some parts of the world. Polio virus invades the nervous system and can cause total paralysis in hours. It can strike people of any age, but mainly affects children under 5. Polio can be prevented by vaccines, but is not curable. Unlike most diseases, polio can be eradicated. For more than 30 years, Rotary and our partners have driven the effort to eradicate polio worldwide. The Polio Plus program was the first initiative to tackle global polio eradication by vaccinating children on a massive scale. Rotary members have contributed $1.9 billion in countless volunteer hours to protect more than 2.5 billion children in 122 countries from this paralyzing disease. Rotary's advocacy efforts have played a role in decisions by governments to contribute more than $8 billion to the effort. Can the Gateway Rotarians in the room that have given financial resources to support this initiative please stand? Thank you all. With our partners, we have reduced polio cases by 99.9% from 350,000 cases in 125 countries in 1988 to just 33 cases caused by the wild virus in 2018. Only 2 countries continue to report cases of wild polio virus in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The infrastructure we have helped to build and end polio is also being used to treat and prevent other diseases and create lasting impact in other areas of public health. Moving forward, Rotary is committed to raising $50 million per year for polio eradication. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has pledged to match that 2-to-1 for the total commitment of $150 million each year. These funds provide much needed operational support, medical workers, laboratory equipment, and educational materials. Some may have seen the email from Megan coming out that we have a social tomorrow here at O'Blarney's. They're doing $2 per pint for this initiative. The Rotaract members from the St. Martin's University will also be attending. And yeah, this is exciting. This is a really exciting day to celebrate the work that we are all a part of coming to fruition. After the meeting at 8 a.m., you all will be receiving an email with the same information I just summarized, and there will be a link. If you want to make a gift toward the Polio Plus program, that will be an option in the email to try and make it easiest for you. You just log in and get it all done. Please let me know if you have any questions. There are a handful in this room that may actually know more than me because they care so much about this cause. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dave. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. Tomorrow's football game is Redskins versus the Vikings. Nobody really wants to see that anyway at home. So come on out here. We're also going to have some of the other clubs are going to be joining us. So this is going to be a great social event. And then the folks that were standing who already gave, we can have everybody in the room at the end standing. Because how many people like beer? Right? Yeah. Right? All right. Come out and have a beer tomorrow. And O'Blarney's has been gracious enough to put $2 toward the polio fund, which is fantastic. So hope to see everybody tomorrow here at O'Blarney's. You're probably going to hear some more announcements on that through the day.
$2 every pint of
Every
beer.
pint, exactly. $2 every pint.
Which is more than
And yes, and a good point by Jerry. That's an excellent giving by O'Blarney's. I really want to recognize it because that's higher than I've seen at other places. With that said, let's move on to our main program. So I'd like to announce our vocational chair, Grace Kendall, who's going to lead the program today. Let's hear it for Grace.
Sure. That's just Doug's rule. It's not really mine.
Oh, okay. I just don't want to get in trouble. I'm a rule follower.
Oh, you'll get in trouble.
Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to thank the vocational committee. This is a committee that we work very independently, but we come together and things get done, which I'm really proud to say. For my co-chair, Ed Johnson, to Brian Bradford, Martin McElliott, Eric Rowe, Mark Harris, Peggy Williams, and the person today that put together this business panel, which is Matthew Hedy, and the person that's going to narrate this will be Stacey Belser from our committee. Would you guys come on up? so that she can introduce the panel. Good morning, everyone. Scoot over so you all can get in. So today we're going to be talking with Matthew, Crystal, and Madeline, and they are going to give us some different examples in how Rotary helps with their business. So if you will start to say your name and where you work, and then we'll get started with the questions.
My name is Matthew Hedy, and I'm a chiropractor in Tumwater, Tanos Chiropractic.
I'm Crystal Zabala. I'm a commercial loan officer at Washington State Employees Credit Union.
And I'm Madeline White, owner of Merle Merman Cosmetics, Wigs, and Day Spa.
Okay, so to start, we're going to talk about your education and what you need in your business. Why did you choose your current position? And we'll start with Madeline.
I'll make it as quick as possible. I work for the state of Washington as the head of administration for the Department of Highways, then now Transportation. My dad was assistant director of agriculture, and he and I met for lunch at least once a week. He said to me, Madeline, I think you, your mom, and I should start a business. And I said, what kind? And he said, well, he figured, having gone through the Depression, there was nothing depression-proof, but there were two kinds that he felt were recession-proof. One would be a tavern. I have well, I don't have much tolerance for drunks, so, and my dad and I don't drink, so, you know, that was kind of out. So he said, so anything in the beauty business because women will always be vain.
That's hard to follow up. I always wanted to be in business. I always thought I'd do international business, and I had a chance to be a teller part-time, and I was like, working fast food, that sounded pretty great. Like, I get evenings and weekends off, and I'm not gonna smell like food going home. And then as I got my business degree, this opportunity in our loan department opened up, and they were like, come here, and I thought, but I loved it. I get to deal with all different businesses. So every day is different, every file I look at is different. So it's an exciting, wonderful job.
So in high school, I thought probably the coolest thing would be a pilot, probably a fighter pilot, just go fast. How fast can you go? Probably speed of sound, that sounds pretty fast. But then I had some injuries in high school. So then when recruiters kept following up with me, I had to tell them, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair right now with a broken spine, so I probably can't run very fast. And they said, okay, thank you. So I think that if you want to get off the recruiter's list, that's how you do it. So, so after rehabbing a lot of things, I healed from a lot of injuries, but my spine was still messed up. And so I asked my surgeons that did great work and everything else, so, well, what do I do about my spine? Should I see a chiropractor? And they said, no, it'll heal on its own. So I had just dinner at a friend's house whose parent was a chiropractor. And I asked them the same question. They said, well, it's broken right now, so it needs to heal on its own, but afterwards, come on in and we'll work on it. So I did, and then that quickly developed into, they said, you should work here. You are an awesome patient, and this is just a great fit for you. So after that, then I just kind of kept going down that road, and here we are.
Okay, so you touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the training requirements to start working in your profession?
Don't do what I did. So being in the beauty business, and I was a tomboy, this was kind of a problem at first. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably learn more about the beauty business instead of instead of business in general. Going to college, I was actually headed toward education with a business minor, and that's probably a good thing. I don't do any of those things in my beauty business, so it's just a matter of learning business.
I think that a knowledge of real estate, a knowledge of accounting or business, communication skills, key in my field. So all of those, people ask me all the time, do you have to have a degree to do this job? And I say no, there's no degree requirement. It's helpful, it helps you get some of those skills behind you, but common sense, I think, and intrinsic motivation are two of the key things you really need to have.
So you gotta have a lot of degrees to do what I do, and it's annoyingly long, you could say, but I guess there's a reason for it. So you have to, in almost every state regulates healthcare a little bit differently in licensees. So, but most states you're gonna need an undergraduate degree, so you might as well just go ahead and go to your four-year program. If it's not in sciences, then you'll need an undergraduate degree plus some extra science classes. So if you get a bachelor's in arts, then you need a few more classes. So a lot of people get kinesiology degrees, so the study of movement, or anatomy degree, anything that's health and wellness related, and that gives you a good jump start on chiropractic college. And then when you go there, some of the classes are very similar to ones you already took. So it's like, oh, this class is easy, but then you're also paying and taking the class twice. So it's like, that doesn't sound like a good deal. So some of my mentors said, all of my classmates did kinesiology, they said, what no one had was a business degree. They said, if you're gonna go to undergrad, get something different. So I said, okay, I'll get a business degree. So I got a business management degree, and then I also had to take more science classes. So either way they get you. And then after that, chiropractic college is a 4-year program. The closest one it is 4 years year round. You're taking 30 credit hours at a time. You're basically in class all day in cadaver labs, X-ray, and the closest one here is Portland. So they're accessible.
Okay. Are there any other trainings or specialties that interest you specifically?
No.
I always joke and say if I wasn't doing this, I'd be a pilot. But not really. Actually, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably want to be a teacher at community college or in high school. So.
Okay, I guess I have the biggest one of these two. So there's lots of different specialties to be in. The one that I'm interested in the most right now is getting more involved in the state injured workers program and being a higher level examiner in that system. So it's a long process, but as you get there, then people start referring to you to do more detailed exams. So more detailed work, they call it practice, for a reason. So you're always trying to get better. So anatomy, you're studying every day. Sometimes it is more of navigating the bigger system that people are in and helping them with that bureaucracy, because that's as tough as anything else.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Rotary in your business. How do you use the Rotary 4-way test and the ideal of service above self in your business?
So number 5, is it fun? And they put up a sign in the back room that's in one of my store. Well, now I'm only down to one store. In my store that says you don't have to be crazy to work here, she trains. So that's the fun part. Is it the truth? You bet it is, because I learned many, many years ago not to lie, and I have not very much respect for people who do lie. And another reason I don't like lying is just I don't want to have to remember my lies. Beneficial to all, we try really hard to make it beneficial to all. When people come into my store, which unfortunately you're going to get to hear from me because this is my classification talk day, but it's all about person to person. Years ago when I started my business, I sat in the mall and said, why would somebody come to me for this when they could go to the department store and buy shoes and buy dresses and buy makeup? So I decided my point of difference was going to be I would get the best service of anybody in town, and that's what I have maintained for 46 years, and insist on my people who work there to have that too. I try to do things for the community, which is why I've taught classes for cancer patients for 27 years, at least once a month at the hospitals. I try to do things that will help other people. I will not teach those classes in my store because I don't ever want people to think they have to buy from me, so I teach at the hospitals. And I try to help out people like this little girl that Mike brought up who has alopecia. She's in the 7th grade, no hair, never will have hair, and so I try to do things like that. What else am I supposed to, beneficial to all? Anyway, we try our best.
Yeah.
When I think of the 4-way test in my business, I always think would I do this for my grandmother? And would I invest my grandmother's money this way? Because working for a credit union, you are literally investing your friends and family's money into the loans that we give, but also the people that you're helping are the members back, so are you doing the same? So I always try to think of it that way. Of course, I wouldn't lie to my gran. I have a great relationship, and I wouldn't lie to anyone, but it's, anyway, I'm very honest, open, but sometimes that can be really hard when you're having to have those really heart-to-heart discussions with people that are applying for a loan, and the answer is, we can't give you this loan, and walking them through why. The other thing in the four-way test that is a little bit different with a credit union than opposed to like a bank is there are certain products we don't offer, and so I oftentimes am just coaching people on places they can go to get the services that they're looking for. Like an SBA loan, unfortunately where I'm at right now we don't do it, but I know that Twin Star does, and I have some great partners there. So plug for them, there's Corinne in the audience. So I always try to tell them that. And then also our members, again, they're like family, and so I say, you know, if you have questions on this, I have a lot of experience in the industry and field, call me. I don't have a vested interest in this now. It's not like I'm trying to sell you a product. If you just want somebody to walk you through the process, call me. If something just doesn't sound quite right to you, call me. Always call me, text me, email me, because again, just like my grant, I want to make sure that they're getting into the best thing for them.
I would say treat my patients like family, but traditionally family makes the worst patients. So yeah, don't lend my children, don't take them under your care. But seriously, you know, the truth, the first visit, like meeting someone, going through their whole history, I mean, basically sharing your life story with anything that's happened to any trauma to your body. That's where we're doing the fact finding and finding what the truth is, and that is like one of the most powerful visits, because we're trying to figure out what is the truth. And they may have been different places and heard different things, or yeah, anecdotes, different advice from family members. So that is the biggest thing. And then once we figure that out, and I share whatever I think it is, that's when we can really move forward. Having said that, I am generally pretty optimistic and so fun, and we're trying to be lighthearted and not take anything too seriously, because generally we can help improve many conditions, but every once in a while there's things that are out of my scope. It's something else. It's a bigger thing that we're catching, and it needs to be referred out. And so that is always a tough conversation, just breaking not the best news to someone. And so that is probably the toughest thing, but it fulfills the rest of the Rotary missions of just that is the right thing that needs to happen, and the sooner it happens, the better. And so. Yeah, I'd say that's the toughest thing, but yeah, it's what people need. So.
Okay, next question is, what is a good referral to you? And can you share an example or a story?
There's lots of ways we can have referrals. The people who work in my store need referrals. Anybody who needs their hair done, hair cut, hair perm, hair whatever, massage therapy, great referrals, because we have an amazing massage therapist. Anybody who, we do free makeovers, so if you need to learn, if you want to learn, if you want to learn how to do something differently, we also do wedding makeovers and things like that. So any of those are great referrals to us, and of course anybody who not necessarily needs a wig, but also those who just want to look different, something like that.
Great referral would be anybody looking to buy or refinance commercial real estate. So office space, apartment, mini storage, any of those things. Those would be a great referral to me. I don't have an example because it's all confidential. Real quick though, since I have the mic, now I'm going to take over. No, my son was at school the other day. His teacher asked him, what does your mom do? And he said, I don't know. We don't talk about her work at home. And so the teacher was like, is she in the CIA? So I don't have an example this year, unfortunately. But I would love to talk to any of you with any questions you might have.
So an easy referral to me are the things that you've probably already heard of stuff. Just neck pain, back pain, low back pain is like one of the most common things. Those are sort of easier easier fixes. The more complicated ones, if you really want to throw me, maybe put my thinking cap on, is pre-op and post-op rehab care. So if you've already said, oh, you're going to need a total knee probably in like 3 years, like, well, what about until then? What do we do until then? Like, oh, it's going to get worse. Don't worry about it. So sometimes, many times, we can help you. You ever had that? Your doctor ever told you, you'll know. That happened to me. But we can help them have just a higher quality of life, better function until, if you have to have a total replacement done, then that happens, or just post-op rehab. After you have the surgery and do stuff, there's some definitely stiffness and pain that remains that we can help with. So those are tougher cases, obviously, but they're fun and unique, and everybody's different. But yeah, so a good referral for me, probably one of the earlier cases that gave me the most confident as a newer provider was because I had a compression fracture in my back from a big fall in high school, like I said, and I met someone that had a similar injury, similar age, so similar to mine. I was like, I can help you. I don't ever guarantee things, but I can help you. I can totally help you. And that really just, the empathy there of just seeing someone, like that was the person I was trying to help since the beginning. Like, oh, I hope I have someone similar to me. So I was like, oh, I got to do it. So that was probably the most fun I had early on.
I have a pain in my neck. His name is Lowell Gordon.
Yeah. Remove him, Matthew.
Never goes away.
What are some of the challenges and opportunities that you see in your business within the next 5 years?
I'll be almost 80 years old. Oh my God. That's why I have no interest in any other fields right now. My dad was right. Not that just that women are always going to be vain, but anytime you're in the beauty business, you're making people feel better and, of course, look better. But the feeling better, I see that it will continue. It is not Amazon proof because people can buy makeup and wigs and things like that on the internet. However, the internet can't do hair, the internet can't do massage therapy, the internet can't show you how to put on makeup, the internet doesn't show you what colors are best for you, and the internet doesn't. We have lots of people who have tried to buy wigs over the internet and they come in and say, this just doesn't work. So I think our industry will continue. Having been through 7 recessions, I can say that there are times when I've been a nonprofit. But I do have the feeling that it will continue.
I think one of the biggest things facing our industry is just knowledgeable, skilled labor in a lot of different fronts. One of the things is we have to get appraisals on everything we do, and so less and less people are going into that. I'm not sure why. So it's definitely a shrinking industry, and so if I was a young person right now or to tell people and you wanted to get into it, I would encourage, I'd say go in that field. Less and less people are doing it. So that's one of the biggest obstacles, I would say. The other things, seem like common sense, the economy changes, it affects commercial real estate. On both sides, when the economy goes down, some people are more interested in buying and building up opportunities. And then interest rate risk, as interest rates continue to fluctuate, it affects what people can buy, how much buying power they have.
So in the current system we have, every October or so, all the health insurance companies send out the new rules. So this is out, this is in, this is what we pay now, and so every October it's, all right, let's figure out what the rules are for the next year going forward. And it's political, there's all sorts of big players that are way beyond our control. There's a lot of things happening at the state level that we can control more. The good news is that, like, in the past it's been really tough to study chiropractic or any physical medicine because you can't make a perfect sham treatment. So you can do a double-blind placebo study on drugs. They're identical pills, no one can tell what it is, but you can't give someone an adjustment or a massage and then have someone come in and give them a placebo massage. Like, you just can't do it. That's not how, like, he didn't even touch me, what are you talking about? So, So that's been tough. And so in the past, there's been studies like that, like, see, chiropractic doesn't work. Ha, and like that doesn't, you can't, that's okay. So what they have to do is longer studies, these big longevity studies, bigger populations, and they're more expensive. But luckily, those are really churning out now for people who put in the work many years ago. And so bigger agencies like Department of Defense and Medicare, and they're seeing like, oh, this actually does save money in the long run. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll probably get come back in 2022. We'll get you guys on, don't worry about it. So anyway, but it's coming, it's expanding, the research is there, and so just overall culturally, it's doing good, but our eyes are on how are patients going to pay for their health care in the future? So that's still the big question mark. So.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. That concludes our questions. And do I have any questions for the group or a specific person? Anyone? No?
None.
Good job.
There we go.
I got one. Madeline, can you tell me one challenge that you had that you learned from in your many years of owning your business? Just one.
Many.
Employees, probably. But I would say it's going to be much different now for people who are going into business, especially females. When I started, I had to pay high dollar for insurance because I was a female. I couldn't get a credit card in my name because I was a female. So it's going to be a lot easier now, so I don't think the challenges that I face are going to happen now. I think employees will always be an issue. I have great employees, don't get me wrong, but in 46 years, you can imagine some of the stories I could tell. So anyway, I would say that if anybody is going into business now, there are some great things. The EDC has some women in business. There's some great things that weren't around when I started, so yes. Grace.
Thank you. Grace?
I just have some information to kind of share with you in reference to what Madeline was talking about when it comes to employees. Just one piece of advice of being in business for 20 years is whenever you're starting to hire those employees, hire the right employee. When I say that, I'm talking about if it's at a higher rate, that's what you need to do because it's going to definitely less the stress, and you'll have a better company and a better workforce to work with. If you go with the lower end, if you're looking at doing something that's at the minimum wage or whatever, all it's going to do is cause problems. You really just need to decide, I want the right person, I want the person that's going to do this the way that I want it done, and pay the price up front. It's going to save you much more money in the long run.
I think you have one
I think there was one more question in the back.
I'd love to hear either the coolest part of your job or something you're really proud of about the kind of work that you do.
Okay. Coolest part of my job is helping people, helping them feel better about themselves, not just looking better, but feeling better. There's so many people who have come in that have absolutely no confidence in themselves, and to watch that person blossom by helping them has been probably the best thing.
The coolest part of my job is helping people also, helping them with their investment futures and see that growth and potential for them.
So the norm is slow and steady progress, trending in the right direction, but the most fun, and it's the exception, not the norm, but you have some miraculous instantaneous results where it wasn't a combination of things over time, it was just like one specific small issue, and then when we corrected it, it's like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? It's like, it's just anatomy and physiology, we got you moving. But, so those are fun, and it's like, okay, but don't go promising that to all of your friends, because like, I'm not quite, yeah, that's good.
All right.
Okay, thank you everyone so much.
All right. Wow, what a great program that was. Let's hear it again for the committee that was here. Stacey doing a great job, and the entire vocational committee. I really appreciate the efforts that they put forth. I really personally enjoy these presentations and panels. Thank you. So again, a great job by all those folks. All right, we're going to move right into announcements. We've got a few. So folks, I'm going to be calling up Peggy, Megan and Grace will be coming back up. So let's hear it for Peggy Williams. Peggy.
As an educator, I'm excited to be joining Lori on the literacy committee. And she is gone today, so she wanted me to make an announcement about our book drive that happens this month. And we are competing against the other clubs in the area. As of now, we have about 805 books collected. I went to her house and we boxed books and counted them. So I'm hoping we can count more books. The South Sound Reading Foundation is really vital to our community because a real key to success with kids is access to education, and part of that is books. So we need to have books available to everybody. And I would like to encourage you to do what Sylvia did. Sylvia came over to me today and she says, I have 5 or 7 boxes of books. And all it did was take a quick phone call to a few friends, or a text, or an email, or post it on social media, and voila, books appeared. So I would love to be able to count some more books and donate them to South Sound Reading Foundation. So please do your part so that we can win.
Yeah. And it's to the end of the month, so again, last push. We've got a meeting next week, so bring in the books because it's going to be great to beat McGregor, because that's always the goal. Megan, we've got an announcement. Let's hear it from Megan Schur.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to provide a quick update on the landscaping project we're doing with the Lacey Food Bank off of Martin Way. So this is the first part of our giant partnership with Lacey Food Bank for their farm stand. Before we start putting any shelves in the farm stand or anything in the pantry, we need to help them with some landscaping. They need to get this done so that they can get their permanent permit, occupancy permit. So time is of the essence. The definite needs, so we are specifically committed to planting a variety of plants, arborvitaes, shrubs in front of that farm stand. One additional need has come up, and I am from Missouri, and I've never asked this question before, so this is new, but if anybody has a tractor and a trailer to haul it, we would definitely, it could definitely come in handy. They need some help laying down the bark and the mulch and the soil that a company has already donated. So if someone out there has a tractor, a small tractor that they would be willing to help us, maybe one weekend for a few hours, lay that soil down, because it'll be a lot easier if we use a tractor and get it all, rather than have us break our backs and maybe have to go see my husband at the chiropractic office. So if you have a tractor and a trailer, please connect with me after the meeting or shoot me an email. I'd love to put you in touch with the food bank folks. And we are working on nailing down a date for actually doing the planting of the things, the planting of the arborvitaes and stuff. The tractor is sort of the thing that we need to figure out dates. So again, if you have a tractor and a trailer to haul it, please let me know, and I will keep you all posted on the date that we actually go do the fun planting activities. So stay tuned. Oh, and social committee. Social tomorrow. Did you like that freeze frame? What's tomorrow?
Thursday. World Polio Day.
World Polio Day. Yes, there's 3 technically things happening tomorrow. World Polio Day, Pints for Polio Awareness tomorrow here at O'Blarney's. $2 for every pint purchase, as you have heard today. So please come on out. We'll have a great time. Other Rotary Club members will be here as well. So it starts at 4 o'clock. Thank you, Graham. Starts at 4 o'clock tomorrow and goes till question mark. Trivia here starts at 8 if you're up for some late night fun. Thanks.
All right. Okay, and finally, let's hear from Grace. Grace.
I know you've got too much of Madeline and too much of Grace today. So, 2 things real quick. Just a reminder to the Vocational Committee, we are meeting immediately after the club meeting for our regular scheduled meeting. And second thing, our classification talks for 2020. I have here, if you have not given a vocational talk in the last 18 months, you're on my hit list. I'm going to pass this around next week at the beginning, and so at the end we can hopefully have this pretty much filled up. Please go ahead and put down a date if you haven't done this. If you're about 16 months, that's fine too, go ahead and do that. And especially all of our new members, I need you to be first and foremost on this list. I will be checking with Shannon to get some of those new names so we can make sure they're on here. I've done that to this point, I believe. But if you have not, please come and see me so I can get you on here. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And Madeline, if you can start coming down this way. I just have one quick announcement, and then we'll give it to Madeline. On Wednesday, December 4th, the club will host its annual meeting, at which time we will have our election of officers for 2020-2021. Positions of President, Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, Sergeant at Arms, and Director at Large will be decided by a ballot vote. The nomination committee will be chaired by past President Eric Rowe and will include President-elect Janine Ezell, past President Jonathan Sprosky, Patrick Davidson, and Mindy Ruley. The nomination committee will present a slate of officers at the October 30th meeting next week and will accept any other nominations from the club as presented. A ballot election will be held at the annual meeting on December 4th. And with that said, we're going to move into our classification, and that committee, nomination committee, is going to be meeting right over here at the end of this meeting. With that said, let's move into the Madeline White show, because we're going to have a classification talk, and then she can introduce the Sergeant at Arms. So let's hear from Madeline White.
Depending on with whom you speak, this may or may not be about 100 years off. So last time I spoke, and of course new people won't have known this, but I spoke about my growing up years, and well, I didn't really grow up, did I?
No.
My getting older years. I grew up on a mountain, and therefore Jonathan Sprosky says my dad was Moses. I didn't really know Abraham Lincoln, honest. And I went to Hood River High School in Portland State. And I've always been quite adventurous, probably because of my tomboy years of growing up on the mountain with only boys. I had to be better than they were, and so none of my brothers jumped out of a plane, none of my brothers jumped off a cliff, none of my brothers, so see, it just goes on and on. But I didn't do those until I was in my 60s and 70s, and therefore my brothers weren't around, so I couldn't compete with them. So today, and I didn't know about what I was going to be on this panel, or I probably wouldn't have picked today to do this, but I'm going to talk about my business more than me. So, where is it? Right here. Oh, this thing. And what is it? Up is down and down is up. This one. Okay. So, there I am. This is my store. This is the front part of my store where we do makeovers, and obviously we have lots of different kinds of cosmetics for anybody and everybody. We do have males that come in. You might be surprised you know some of them. Because men are finally learning to take care of their skin. What a concept. The only thing they don't have to do if they shave, Graham, is they don't have to exfoliate because shaving exfoliates. But
oh, that's nice.
yeah, everybody should exfoliate. Otherwise, those cells won't come to the surface. So, let's see. Cosmetics. Wigs. And yes, there was one for Ozzy Osbourne.
Called Marty.
That's one of the hairdressers' stations. They each have their own room, so nobody gets in fights or anything. This is another one. This one does permanent cosmetics, so eyebrows, eyeliner, the normal things, but she also does a lot of areola, permanent cosmetics for those who have had to have their breasts removed and have much better perkier ones when they come out of it. Hairstylist, again, massage therapy. Oh no.
They turned it off. It's massage therapy in a dark room.
Yeah.
Wow, that is comforting. That is
Anyway, what I really wanted to come across with today is, yes, I have been in business for almost 46 years. I am down to one store as opposed to 3. Again, having been through all those recessions, and maybe a little bit because I got older. Why am I still in business? And that's what I want to talk about. I would have a hard time giving up my clients. Obviously, I'm very active in the community, but I, for some reason, don't often see my clients. I have clients that I've had for most of those 40 years, and I'm working with all their families, now great-grandchildren, and they become my family. And to give that up, it would be hard for me. I talked about giving the best service ever for anybody, and that's how I've held on to those families. One in particular, and her picture was up there, her name is Alice, and she came from Vermont, I think about 15 or 16 years ago. And she found my store, and she has become part of my family. She is one of the most, not just caring individuals, but you never hear her complain. She comes in, we are always laughing. She's had major heart surgery. She's major diabetic. She lost part of a leg. She lost part of her other foot. And I've never heard her complain, ever, in all those years. She comes and sees me every 2 weeks like clockwork. And we have a good time. It's what I try to do with all my clients is 90% of them that come in hug me. You know why I give hugs? Because when I give a hug, I get one back. So you're forced upon me. I like what I do because of the people. Yes, there have been problems with employees periodically, but I look at those as opportunities to find new people that are much better. I guess that's most of what I want to say about my business. 46 years is a long time, but I'm not going to give up yet, so you'll see me next year.
Yay! You're the sergeant at arms. Bye to our folks at home, and we got 5 minutes left, so we better just go around the room.